In November 1936, the defense of Madrid was near collapse.
Barricades rise on the roads to Madrid as General Franco's advancing insurgents consolidate their blood-bought gains and press on to Spain's beleaguered capital. The guns still sing their hymn of death after weeks of desperate fighting. One suburb after another is invaded by Franco's troops. One by one, the capital's outposts fall.
With Madrid on the verge of capture, help arrived from around the world. They came from France, Poland, Sweden, Cuba, Yugoslavia, England, and Peru. There were German and Italian volunteers, some of whom had escaped from concentration camps. From 52 countries in all, 40,000 volunteers arrived to fight alongside the Spanish workers and peasants. In America, Steve Nelson first heard about the International Brigades while organizing for the Communist Party in the coal fields of Pennsylvania.
When we read that Englishmen were going, then we said, hey, what about us? And the party committee in New York responded to that, set up a committee and sent out word to the various districts of the party, as we used to call it, various state committees, and told them that this is going on, and if there are people who would volunteer, to get in touch with them.
Recruitment for the Lincoln Brigade was done by word of mouth and through ads pretending to seek workers for Spain. This effort was organized by the Communist Party, yet many of the volunteers were not communists.
I'm not going to just sit down and let this happen. I'm going out and help, even if it is my life. But I'm helping. This is my world, too. And I'm not going to sit down and just let people do what they want to do when it's wrong. And I'm a nurse. Look at all those soldiers and all those people being hurt. Look at all the people even in Spain, young children not being bombed, taken care of and all of that. Women, men, everybody. And I was doing crisis duty.
It seemed like a perfectly natural thing to do. I mean, I knew what oppression was. I'd had it all my life when I was a kid. And it didn't seem like any effort or took any thinking at all. I didn't need politics. I mean, they were oppressing the Spanish people, so I knew what that meant. So I wanted to go and help. Very simple.
A combination of all these things, evidently going right back to my childhood in the slums. And I was working class. I was part of the American working class. And it was an opportunity for me to fish cut bait, to join my friends and fight fascism.
Evelyn Hutchins wanted to go as a soldier, but American women were only allowed to serve as nurses. She then tried to volunteer as an ambulance driver.
I asked them if they knew how good I was at driving, and they knew because they were using me all the time. I asked them if they would have allowed me to go if I had been a man, and they admitted they would have, and even my size, as small as I am, because two of the other ambulance drivers were my size, you know. So I told them, well, if you don't let me go, then you're just a chauvinist, that's all. A male chauvinist, you're just a chauvinist. And you're not supposed to be, because you're supposed to be a political person. Well, then they would say, I'm not like that. I would let you go. But it's the others. So my attitude was, you let me take care of the others.
I was living with my cousin, and he was exactly the same frame of mind. And he said, well, we ought to make a pact. He said that not one of us leaves without telling the other guy he's going, so that we can go together. And I said, that sounds like a winner. And then I got thinking about it, and this cousin is 3 or 4 years younger than I, and we have a tremendous family, and I think maybe I was a little more considered the radical of the two of us. And I thought, gee, if he and I leave together, and he croaks and I come back, I won't be able to face the family. I won't be able to face the family. They'll say, oh, Dave talked Jim into going, and Jim's dead, and Dave's... I won't be able to face the family. So I broke the pact. But I finally told Jim, I said, Jim, tomorrow I think I'm leaving for Spain. And he called me every kind of a son of a bitch that you can call a guy. And he was over there 10 days later.
And then when I was accepted and I was in the pipeline, so to speak, then it hit me, the enormity of what I was doing. And then I had to accommodate myself to the idea, and my mother to the idea, for instance.
And how the hell do you explain this stuff to your mother, that you're going off to possibly get killed or stuff like that? Very difficult thing. I found it very hard.
But I convinced her that I was going over there to work in a factory.
So I decided to just say, look, I'm getting on a ship and it's going to Europe. Now, sometimes we go to these ports and you don't hear from me for months and months and months. Sometimes it's out of the way place. They don't have mailboxes or mail carriers or stuff like that. So don't worry if you don't hear from me for a long time.
I sent home letters telling her what great work I was doing in the factory and so forth, and turning out all these goods for the front. Until one day I got a letter from my sister that a picture of me and Hemingway had appeared in the Jewish Daily Forwards in the Rotogravure section. Milton Wolfe, captain in the Abraham Lincoln Battalion, blew my cover completely.